Hello, bros. We're back with new book arrivals number 300 and something. I don't know what it is. But here we go. And I've come to a new agreement with myself that anytime I buy new books, I have to enter them into Libib manually if they're not part of the ISBN. So there we go. The unexpurgated 1928 Oriole edition, Lady Chatterley's Lover by D.H. Lawrence. This is the real point of this book. I want men and women to be able to think sex fully, completely, honestly, and cleanly. Immaturity, but there we go. Introduction. Although the bibliographic description. Let's read a couple pages of this filth. Chapter 1. Ours is essentially a tragic age, so we refuse to take it tragically. The cataclysm has happened. We are among the ruins. We start to build up new little habitats, to have new little hopes. It is rather hard work. There is now no smooth road into the future. But we go round or scramble over the obstacles. We've got to live, no matter how many skies have fallen. This was more or less Constant Chatterley's position. The war had brought the roof down over her head. All right. B. A.C. Crispin, and I know I have a copy of this somewhere, but the terrifying novel based on the full 10-hour NBC TV miniseries, which I will never watch because why would I? They arrived, tens of thousands of extraterrestrial beings, huge spaceships the size of a modern metropolis. They came from a dying planet. All they wanted in exchange for their vast knowledge of science and technology was a small share of the Earth's natural resources. Theirs was a mission of peace, and mankind believed them until they began to multiply into an army of alien invaders, until men, women, and children, entire cities began to vanish from the Earth, until the horrifying reality behind their mission of peace, a reign of terror reminiscent of Nazi Germany on a global scale, created the human imperative. Cost of your book, dude. The hell does that mean? No, I read books on here too. I have a bunch of books that I've read in their totality. These are just new books I bought yesterday at thrift stores. The Professor and the Prostitute and Other True Tales of Murder and Madness by Linda Wolf. What would drive a brilliant professor to become obsessed with a scheming prostitute? So obsessed he would bludgeon her to death with a hammer. What makes a prosperous and loving mother kill herself and take the lives of her two children? How did a nice suburban princess get involved with a transsexual and become implicated in his murder after he married another man? Demonology expanded and revised the dictionary of demons. I have the King James's demonology. If that's what you're talking about, I do plan on reading that in 2084. Let's see who this is. Life insurance. Call and get some life insurance. 1-800-548-7000. What is this? Lips. Kiss me deadly. Oh god, there he is. Mass murder. Now this one's interesting. Making cordials and liqueurs at home. Step by step directions with more than 75 recipes by John P. Farrell. Yours is by M. Ballinger. I may have that book. I don't know. I'd have to look at my Libib. collected so many books in the last few years. It's ridiculous. So yeah, some basics contorting liquors. The Coors. Where is this from? There was another one on brewing beer, but it was 1974 first edition, but it was falling apart. I literally opened it and it broke in half. So there's that. John Fowles. Is that how you say it? Fowles? The Ebony Tower. Book Club edition, obviously. Never read anything by John Fowles, but he has some pretty interesting titles like The Maggot and what are his other books? The Maggot, 1974, A Personal Note, 103, The Ebony Tower. Oh, so this is kind of stories. Kind of a novel or a novelette. What do they call them? Novellas. And then stories added on. All right, so that's interesting to know. Cost $1, so big ass bookshelf. I turned half my house into a damn library. I got books, and that's only the downstairs. Oh yeah, forgot about these. This is only my living room. I'm guessing I have 10,000 books, but I don't know anymore. Sugar and Spice, that's why I'm cataloging them all in Libib, and that's why I'm working on this pile over here. Sugar and Spice by Eleanor K. Rose, and this is a... yeah, I have probably way too many for any human to consume, but that's the way it goes. I have another one over here too. This one I got just because the lady's from my area, even though she's probably long dead. Blithe and blonde, Eleanor K. Rose is a housewife with one hand on the egg beater and the other on her typewriter. Her merry and loving eye spots many a quatrain in her own life with her husband, a Michigan Bell executive, and their 3 sons. She sold out her first book, Relax, Chum, which capsuled her pixie philosophy. These are not very good, but they were published in the newspaper beforehand, since the Detroit News is mentioned in there, so they must have had like a column, and she published elsewhere too. Sweet dreams. I plan all the things I'll be doing tomorrow while comfortably lying in bed. However, next morning I find, to my sorrow, my muscles were all in my head. I mean, I don't know who would publish this, but amnesia. I rush upstairs at Jesus Christ. Amnesia. I rush upstairs at breakneck speed to get some article I need, but now I'm here. My mind's a fuzz. Good grief! I wonder what it was. What do you expect? It was suburban Detroit in 1959, and before then. And she also signed it. But I will look this lady up in newspapers and see what I can find about her. Since her husband was an executive with Michigan Bell, I assume that they probably lived pretty well. I wouldn't mind the rat race. I'm always running in. If odds were ever even, I'd be the rat to win. Yoicks, Winter. In angel robes, he looked divine. It didn't seem he could be mine until his halo slipped, and then I recognized my son again. All right. Yeah. Purposely buy bad books. Thanks, bruv. I will subscribe too if you're not 12 years old. The Young Manhood of Studs Lonigan by Farrell. Property of George Papa, 17524 Lumpkin, Detroit, Michigan. 1940s, I assume. Cleveland and New York, the World Publishing Company. The Studs Lonergan trilogy. I believe it's 44. Wartime. Oh, look, it even says books in wartime. Books are weapons in the war of ideas, President Roosevelt, as he put Americans in concentration camps. The book is manufactured in compliance with the War Production Board's ruling for conserving paper. Well, that makes sense why this paper sucks. I was wondering why. I mean, look at this. It's like dirty rags. But I did not realize, I guess it makes sense that during the war, you have World War, you got to conserve. So it is printed on lighter weight paper, which reduces bulk substantially and has smaller margins with more words to each page. The text is complete and unabridged. Thinner and smaller books will not only save paper, plate, metal, and manpower, but will make more books available to the reading public. The reader's understanding of this wartime problem will enable the publisher to cooperate more fully with our government. Yeah, it is pretty cool. But the paper is just rubbish. Look at this, how brown it is. But what's this say? Tower Fiction. See if there's anything in the back. Someone scribbled. Here's a Merlin's Journal of Time, the Camelot Adventure. Obviously, a do-it-yourself kind of publication by this lady. Nice mullet, ma'am. Kara Starr. Metafiction Merlin, Arthurian lore. Magic is like that, Arthur. It works in ways unexpected. Arthur, be careful what you take into your beliefs, for you will either live by them or have to overcome it. The Camelot Adventure. To my husband, John, whose love, encouragement, and belief in Merlin. Oh my God, he believed in it too. Where is this from? I saw on eBay, people had these listed for like 30, 40 bucks and no sales, of course. So Kara was born in 1944. This was published in 1989. So at present, she would be, what, 81? Yeah, if she's still alive, she's 81. It has taken the support of many friends to see the events of Merlin turned into a book. To list all who have had a part in this process would be too numerous. Spice Wolf, Volume 1, Story, Asuna Hasakura, Art, Keto, Gume. Obviously, manga. I don't read the shit, but I collect it just because it's generally worth something. And if I ever open a bookstore, I can have a manga section though. Probably got 50 or 60 of them. Someone charged $4. I only paid 50 cents. Did I? Where did I get that? No, I paid a quarter for that. That's right. I paid a quarter for this book too. F. Scott Fitzgerald, The Great Gatsby. Probably my 5th or 6th copy, and none of them I don't believe are much more than vintage at best. Those 70s reprints, book club editions. This is the even newer one, but it's a nice hardcover, and I got it for, I believe, 25 cents as well. Jacob Roediger. Still have never read Fitzgerald. This one, I don't know what I paid for it. Stephen King Revival. $1, I think. No. Should I pay for this sumbitch? Where did I even get it? Trying to think of which sale I purchased this at. I believe I got this at the Salvation Army for $1. I don't like Stephen King, but he's collectible, so I collected it. This is probably a first edition, 2014 Yes, I believe it's first edition or some early edition. As I said, I don't like this guy. I don't read his. Does he have a mustache there? Jesus Christ, dude. What the fuck is wrong with that guy? Third and most important, cut your fucking hair, Joe Cafferty hates hippies. He's just such a bad writer. Just don't like him, but he's collectible. This I also found at the Salvation Army for $1. Legends and Lore of the American Indians, edited by Terry Hardin. Barnes & Noble Books. Well worth it for $1. I would have preferred that the little biographical sketches they give here, or whatever they are, were longer, but I guess these are great length if you just... What's this, a witch story? Let's read a witch story from Indian lore. Where'd it go? Snake Lovers. Chanamede's wife. A witch story. Abenaki. An old witch was dead, and his people buried him in a tree, up among the branches, in a grove that they used for a burial place. Sometime after this, in the winter, an Indian and his wife came along, looking for a good place to spend the night. They saw the grove, went in, and built their cooking fire. When their supper was over, the woman, looking up, saw long dark things hanging among the tree branches. "What are they?" she asked. "They are only the dead of long ago," said her husband. "I want to sleep." "I don't like it at all." "I think we had better sit up all night," replied his wife. The man would not listen to her, but went to sleep. Soon the fire went out, and then she began to hear a gnawing sound like an animal with a bone. She sat still, very much scared, all night long. About dawn she could not stand it no longer, and reaching out tried to wake her husband, but could not. She thought him sound asleep. The gnawing had stopped. When daylight came, she went to her husband and found him dead, and his left side gnawed away, and his heart gone. She turned and ran. At last she came to a lodge where there were some people. Here she told her story, but they would not believe it, thinking that she had killed the man herself. They went with her to the place, however. There they found the man with his heart gone, lying under the burial tree with the dead witch right overhead. They took the body down and unwrapped it. The mouth and face were covered with fresh blood. He ate himself, Bubba. He ate himself. He bloody ate himself, bruv. Cosmos and Transcendence, breaking through the barrier of scientific belief. Wolfgang Smith. The Cartesian Dilemma, Lost Horizons, Evolution, Fact, Fantasy. Wolfgang Smith ranks today as the foremost exponent, one of the most foremost, Jesus Christ, I can't read. With elegance and clarity, Wolfgang Smith leads the reader step by step, to, what do you got, bruv? To the realization that the specifically modern world is based intellectually. Not indeed upon scientific facts, but ultimately on nothing more substantial than a syndrome of Promethean myths. And this opening enables him to recover and reaffirm the deep metaphysical insights that have come down to us through the teachings of Christianity. All right, bro. In Rod We Trust. Do you, bruv? In Rod We Trust, Tom Sawyer, author of The Thing from Uranus. Stories inspired by the Twilight Zone television series. There is a fifth dimension beyond that which is known to man. This is the dimension of imagination. In the case of these stories, it is where author Tom Sawyer's imagination takes flight. Mr. Sawyer, as a popular Michigan horror fiction author of many delights, from paradise to hell, dark harbors, pays an ultimate tribute to Rod Serling's own imagination. I'm sure he does. Great, bruvs. Journey of Souls, Case Studies of Life Between Lives by Michael Newton, PhD. Who made this mistake? Oh! Death and departure. Oh my God, I'm not really dead, am I? I mean, my body is dead. I can see it below me, but I'm floating. I can look down and see my body lying flat in the hospital bed. Everyone around me thinks I'm dead, but I'm not. I want to shout, hey, I'm not really dead. This is so incredible. The nurses are pulling a sheet over my head. People I know are crying. I'm supposed to be dead, but I'm still alive. It's strange because my body is absolutely dead while I'm moving around it from above. I'm alive. It shows that there's two people here, so they're just not speaking. They're creeping. Yeah, so this book's on reincarnation, obviously. Look at this guy. He wouldn't lie to you, would he? Michael Newton. This book uncovers for the first time the mystery of life in the spirit world after death on Earth. Right. Toby Young, How to Lose Friends and Alienate People. It's a memoir. High-flying British journalist Toby Young set out for New York to become a contributing editor at Vanity Fair. Other Brits had taken Manhattan, so why couldn't he? But things didn't quite go according to plan. Within the space of 2 years, he was fired from Vanity Fair, banned from the most fashionable bar in the city, and couldn't get a date for love or money. Even the local AA group wanted nothing to do with him. How to Lose Friends and Alienate People is Toby Young's hilarious and best-selling account of the 5 years he spent looking for love in all the wrong places and steadily working his way down the New York food chain, from glossy magazine editor to crash test dummy for interactive sex toys. A seditious attack on the culture of celebrity from inside the belly of the beast. How to Lose Friends and Alienate People is also a nastily funny read. Right. Hilarious. And these last two books I bought to sell. A Court of Mist and Fury. I actually have some of these listed on the Facebook Marketplace, but someone was supposed to buy them, and then he never contacted me back. And then he contacts me back today, and he's like, hey, you still have these? I didn't get the message, so I just deleted them. Don't you ever tell me. Don't you ever tell me you're coming tomorrow to get the books and then don't show up. You will get nothing now. So yeah, I would never read this rubbish, but other people will, so I keep buying them. Hey, I sell books to everybody, buddy. I was not frightened, not of the role that Rise had asked me to play. Or is that Reese? Reese had asked me to play today. Not of the roaring wind as we winnowed into a familiar snow-capped mountain. And lastly, another book I'm going to sell along with 7 or 8 other books from this same author. In this same series, Love and Betrayal, A Fairy World Gone Mad, The Iron Fae. Half summer fairy princess, half human, Megan has never fit in anywhere. Deserted by the winter prince she thought loved her, she is prisoner to the winter fairy queen. As war looms between summer and winter, Megan knows that the real danger comes from the lion fae, iron-bound fairies that only she and her absent prince have seen. But no one believes her. I don't either. All right, that's all. Unless someone has $283 million to donate, I'm going to have to shut this thing the fuck off.